Hey guys, what's up? What's going on? And welcome back to the channel. I wanted to take just a little bit tonight and get this fuel heater put on the dually. We do have some colder temperatures coming later on in the week in the single digits, so I think it's going to be a good idea to get that put on. We've been pretty lucky this year as far as weather. We haven't had much snow at all, which I guess is really fine with me. So anyway, what I have here is a BD diesel fuel heater. It is a 320 watt heater, is what the output is on that. And what we're actually going to do once I get it installed, I'm going to take my heat gun and we're going to measure the temperature of it before I turn the truck on, and then also after I start the truck or start the lift pump, and see how fast it heats up. And then we'll kind of measure the We'll take the temperature of the tank. And now it probably will take just a little bit to recirculate that heated fuel to the tank. So I don't know how long, whatever gallons per minute your lift pump is, just, you know, and what your return rate is, blah blah blah. So I mean, in theory, in general, it is actually going to heat the fuel in your tank too. I know there's a lot of issues on the second gens as far as the VP, with, you know, the solder coming loose on that, so I don't necessarily know about putting one on a second gen, but it's putting one on the third gen with the CP3. I'm 100% fine with it. I don't think it's going to heat the fuel up enough to cause an issue with the VP44s, but you know, one never knows. That's what they talk about. The issue with is the heat cycles is what's killing the VPs as far as desoldering some of the electronics in there. I went with the BD diesels because I've got actually quite a bit of their products already. You know, I have the Super B back here that's going to be going on the third gen. I got a new cartridge downstairs in the basement because this cartridge was junk. I just need to get it cleaned up and get it the way I want. And then also on the second gen, I have a Super B single on it. I have the 3-piece exhaust manifold on it from BD, and then my steering box brace under there is also a BD diesel. So I already have quite a few of their products, and I've been more than happy with them. So I reached out to those guys and picked up one of their fuel heaters. I'm going to see how it works. When you get your fuel heater, one thing you're going to want to make sure of is get the right one for your application. They have it for 3 different units, as you can see right there. And these are the part numbers for those. Inside your box, you're going to have your sandwich plate, which is your actual heater. This gets sandwiched in between your water separator and your fuel plate on your lift pump. Comes with some thread locker. It comes with my application. I've got 2 different adapters here depending upon which model I have. And then also you get a complete wiring harness to go from the fuel plate, the heater plate, clear up to your battery. The way this works is you're going to unplug your lift pump. You're going to plug that in there, then you're going to take your factory feed to your lift pump and plug it to the other side. So it just kind of tees in there, just like when you plug into the your factory fuel pump or your factory lift pump up underneath the hood when you first initially wire in your lift pump. So one thing I do want to mention, you probably want to be pretty careful. That's just a plastic housing, and you don't want to over tighten that because you probably, the nut in my aspect, because you probably could over tighten this nut and crack this housing. They're not real expensive. They're like 160 bucks. So that's why I went with the BD diesel, because I like the fact that it was just a sandwich plate. So I guess with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get under the truck and get the water separator taken out so we can get this installed. Alright, like I said, this sandwich is in between your water separator. So I'm going to take my water separator off. Set that right there to the side. Gonna have to grab a 1-inch socket and take this threaded plug, or this threaded piece out right here. Alright, after you determine what adapter you need, thread that up in place. tighten it up. Then you're going to want to make sure and put some oil on that rubber gasket there. And then face your plug out towards your body. And then tighten that up. Like I said, that's just a plastic housing or a plastic body on this fuel heater, so don't tighten it extremely tight. And then you can reinstall your water separator. Now before I go any further, I'm going to get my system primed up, backed up, and check for leaks. Alright, I got the system all primed back up and I did not see any leaks, so we're going to go ahead and continue on with the wiring portion of it. Right here's the plug, and like I said, BD supplies a nice harness. I do have it ran up and over that body mount, kind of with my other stuff, and you're going to want to tee in right here. So one end's going to go into the harness coming from the engine compartment, and then this end right here is going to go into that plug right there coming out of your pump motor from your lift pump. So I want to grab some dielectric grease and put on this stuff. Usually I put it on those ends, that way when I shove it into the female or the male portion rather, it forces it down inside there. So you can see how you can see that dielectric grease all over that one. I'm gonna want to put dielectric grease on pretty much everything and route my wiring harness there up to the front of the truck and hook everything up to the battery. Alright, as you saw, I got all my wires ran up the frame there. I just ran them in the same location as my lift pump wiring harness. And then I made up this little bracket right here so I have my lift pump relay here, and then this will be the fuel heater relay. I just basically put it in the same spot. I had to make that little bracket because their relay holder, basically the way theirs works is you pull the relay out and put like a self-tapping screw into the firewall there or something like that, but I didn't want to do that, so I wanted to have them side by side. So I just made up a little L bracket, and so they're side by side right there. Got one side hooked up to power, and then I have the other side hooked up to the body ground. So everything is good to go as far as all the connections are made. Gonna go ahead and shoot the plate now so you can see what the temperature is before, and then we're gonna fire up the lift pump, fire up the truck, and then we're gonna look at the gun and see what kind of how fast the temperature actually raises. All right, as you can see right there, I do have the laser portion on, and if I shoot that plastic plate is about 47, 46 47 degrees. The aluminum plate up there is the same temperature. The filter itself is about the same temperature, and then also the lines coming in. That'll be a good indication right there too. That fuel line right there is 44 degrees, and that is the feed. And then right up there is the return. You can see that that is also about 45 degrees too. So now we're going to power up the fuel heater itself. We're going to start the truck up, and then I'm just going to sit here with the gun and see what kind of temperature raises we get. You can see right there that fuel plate is already starting to heat up just a little bit. And once again, this is a 320 watt heater. And you see my laser right there. I've got it sitting right on that sandwich plate. Right there's the filter. The fuel inside the filter right there. It's up to 62 degrees. Fuel plate's starting to heat up too. So the fuel inside the water separator now is about 70 degrees. And if you remember before, that was quite a bit lower than that. There's the fuel inside the feed right there. There's the fuel coming out of the return. It's staying about the same right now. And you can actually feel that fuel is, this water separator is warm to the touch. And then this filter here is starting to warm up also. That's the fuel coming out of the tank. And once again, that's the fuel that's in the water separator. That's the fuel that's in your micron filter. And then that's the fuel that's in the return. It's at 50 degrees now. The fuel that's going to the engine is about 46 degrees. Oops, there we go, I was off the line. 46 degrees. So that does a pretty good job of warming up these filters, even to the touch. Alright, that's pretty impressive. I like the fact that it was warming the filters more so than it was the fuel. I mean, the fuel was getting warm. The longer you run it, the warmer things are going to get. But in just a few minutes of runtime, as you saw there, the filters were actually warming up pretty fast. And most of the time when things gel, you know, it's your filters first, because of my problem that I have is neglect to empty that water separator. So and then your micron filter up front, it's gonna freeze up and gel because of the paraffin wax, as you guys remember. When we did the experiment here with the two different anti-gels, this is Hot Shots and this is the Schaefer's, you guys saw the paraffin wax that was in the bottom of them. I'm actually going to take those and set them outside for the end of the week here when it gets down to 7 degrees and see what they do just in a natural element versus having them in the freezer like I had them. So once again, this is the fuel heater from BD Diesel, and yeah, pretty happy with it, pretty stoked. Now I kind of want some colder temperatures so we can try it out, but it sounds like I'm going to get those at the end of this week here. So if you don't mind, guys, hit that like button, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not already done so. Oh, in the description will be links for the fuel heater and BD Diesel. So once again, like, subscribe, comment. We'll talk to you guys later on. Bye-bye.